Right, man. I'm here with my man, a Steam trainer, Mike Steen, owner, CEO
What's
of
up?
the Mike Way. When did the Mike Way start, and what was the catalyst to starting this, bro?
Man, the Mike Way started 8 years ago, man, after kind of fumbling through names. I've had about 2 or 3 names, man. And after kind of perfecting my craft or perfecting the way that I do things, I was in a session with a client and we weren't arguing, but sometimes, that personal training and that client relationship, it gets toxic sometimes.
Uh-huh.
So it was one of those situations where we going back and forth, and she was like, you know what, you just wanted your way. You just wanted the Mike way. And I was like, you know what? Now that you mentioned it, that is the way it's supposed to be. You came to me for my expertise. I want to make sure you're safe. I want to make sure that the results are pouring in. So this is how we going to do it. And that was the birth of it, man.
Wow, that's crazy, bro. And not just the birth of the Mike Way, but how'd you end up in Washington from Louisiana? How'd that transition happen?
Man, so not to go crazy about it, man, but I was in a little situation, man, where I had just kind of the family that I was attempting to start, it foiled, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling bad about myself, if I'm being completely honest. I'm looking for work, but I don't really want to be bothered. So I moved back to Kansas City, man, and I started pouring concrete. As I'm pouring the concrete, I'm realizing that, man, I got a whole college degree. I done did this, I done did that, but here I am pouring concrete. That's not a knock against anybody who pours concrete, but it made me realize that I was living up to half the man of the vision that I had, right? So I got an opportunity to come out to Washington to help somebody else build their dream. I got out here, we started, and everything started off well, and it just, I guess our ideas didn't align. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, I'm very big on my word is my bond. If I tell you something, then that's what it's going to be. When those words didn't add up, it turned into a now you got to get it on your own, or you know how it is being where we from. If I return back home, it looks like I lost.
Facts.
It looks like I'm defeated. So I just put my head down, man, and I started out, bro. I could get my first client 3 months of free training to get a car so I could move around in Tri-Cities.
Wow. And you say you moved there with just a suitcase?
Yep, one suitcase, man. Everything I could fit in this big old roll bag from Walmart, man.
See, that's what's up, bro. That's a great story, great start, and now you're here, bro. But you shared a picture from 2022. You had you shared it in 2022, and you had put on a lot of weight, and now obviously you're fit, you're healthy. What was your turning point in terms of going from the picture you shared in 2022 to where you are now?
It was two things, man. The first thing was I went to the doctor and he told me that I had high cholesterol. If I'm being completely honest, I think the only time I had ever really dealt with that word was on the side of a Cheerios box. So it really was, I got high cholesterol, bro. I'm an ex-football player, All-American, high cholesterol. So I'm kind of trying to figure out what that looks like, because I didn't feel no different. My body, I felt, was still performing at a high level. But little did I know, man, my energy was down. I had been slipped into, I guess, what most people would call depression.
Mm-hmm.
And then God gave me a kid, man, and I had my first son. And not to be funny, I just said, man, I'm not about to be the fat dad, man. So
I get it.
I got out there and I really got at it, man, because I'm a product of a single-parent household. And I just knew that for me to have that boy, I wanted to be able to not only tell him the stories of greatness, but be able to show him as he, you know what I mean, embarked on his journey in sports or school or whatever it is. So you put those two things in there, and I kind of developed that passion. I've always been a passionate person, and then you take sports out of it. I mean, I really, the corporate world wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like as an athlete, It's pretty tough to go into the corporate world because you expect everybody to do their job without having to be coached into doing it. You expect everybody to show up every day and to perform at a certain level because that's what happens when you play sports. So, you know what I mean? I tried the corporate world. I got my degree, and it just wasn't for me.
It brought you back to what you wanted to be doing and honestly what you were put here to be doing.
I swear that's what it feels like. I mean, I've been here, like I said, in the Tri-Cities for 8 years, brick and mortar. We've survived the pandemic. We've survived COVID. We went through we had a little, almost like a little drop in the economy. We had that too. So, like I said, man, I've been blessed to have a passion and to have a talent that I continue to perfect. I think one thing and you know this better than anybody, we grew up in a football program, man, that really created a brotherhood. Mm-hmm. We grew up in a program that really showed us that there is reward for hard work.
Yes.
I done been in some situations, man, where my hard work wasn't noticed or it wasn't recognized, you know what I mean? So that opportunity didn't materialize into anything. But when I went to Selman, man, it really pushed that in. Like, I don't care that you a freshman. You show up every day. You show up to every workout. You giving me your all on the football field. I got a position for you somewhere.
Yes. Yep. Every gift has a reward there, bro.
Exactly. And that's the program that, like I said, it created a lot of men that you know what I mean? That it created the men that we are today.
Absolutely. 100%. What do you feel, Mike, is the biggest mistake for people trying to transform their bodies or get fit or be healthier? What do you feel is the biggest mistake a lot of people make?
I would have to say the biggest mistake, man, is trying to do something that somebody else is doing. Mm. And what I mean by that is everybody's different. You may have a different lifestyle. I may have the freedom to work out 5 times a week where you may have only the ability to work out twice a week. So I think that people jump out and they don't have balance. You know what I mean? I'm either all in or I'm all out. I'm either all cardio or I'm all weights. I feel like the thing that creates longevity within this fitness space is finding balance with your food, finding balance with your workouts, and finding balance with your cardio.
That's a great point. Wow. Let me ask you this to kind of piggyback on that then. We know when workout times are hot. So beyond New Year's resolutions and let me get summer ready, just speak about the importance of your health and your wealth being priority.
So I think for me, the biggest thing has been respecting age and the natural process. Mm. I'll be 42 this year, and I look better than I did when I was 22.
Fact.
So it's not so much about what I look like, it's about what I feel like. I don't struggle to put my shoes on. I don't struggle to get in and out of my car. My kids want to play. I'm ready to play. Like I said, it's an overall quality of life. So the importance of fitness, I mean, if you don't move it, you lose it. That's probably one of it sounds cliche, but it's probably one of the most accurate statements that we have of our time.
Mm-hmm. What are the age ranges you train? Because I've seen you train kids. I actually saw you doing boxing with an elderly lady. What's the range about in which you train?
As crazy as it may sound, man, the youngest person I've trained is my 6-year-old son. And the oldest person that I've trained is 95.
Wow.
Yep. And it's to be honest with you, the 95-year-old reinvigorated my passion for this fitness because it allowed me to see that people are forgetting about our elderly. Mm. You know what I mean? Most people see her and they see the frailness and they see, but I can't work with you, or I'm going to create a program that you can't grow within. I don't see that. I want to meet you where you are in hopes of growing. So my main thing for her when she came in was to create a better base for her so that she had more balance and she was able to get around on her own. We've done that. Since then, we picked up the boxing gloves. So, like I said, the age range, and they debunked the whole kids shouldn't lift weights, it stunts their growth plates and all of that. All of that's out the window. So, I as America being the biggest country in the world, and childhood obesity being pretty high, I want to say last time I want to check, the childhood obesity was right there with the adults.
Wow.
So, like I said, the importance of the movement, no matter your age, it's very important. It's vital. I mean, we are seeing people, and you can vouch for this, we are seeing people who are passing away 30 and 40 years old.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And if it wasn't hereditary or it wasn't something, you know what I mean, natural like that, then we can probably look back at some of the lifestyle choices that may have caused high cholesterol, that may have caused heart disease, that may have caused diabetes to mess with your kidney. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
Like I said, I think as a whole, we have to scale back. America kicked moderation out the door, bro, in the 70s.
All the way out the door.
I mean, man, we ain't seen moderation. I'm serious, since the 70s.
How important is that? Because one of the things I see a lot of is it's almost like the get rich quick scheme. It's the get skinny quick scheme, and it's the fast way to do it, not the, it's a sprint, not a marathon. And I always tell people, moderation. How important is that word, bro?
Man, like I said to you, it is the center of health and wellness. Because without moderation, you tend to burn out. Even water is cancerous if you have it in excess. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like I said, when you have a tendency to do something more than the other, there's so many rules out there, and all of those rules center around balance. You know what I mean? So, moderation creates balance. For me, I've lifted weights just like you all my life. So I know that I don't have to be in the gym for 3 hours.
Yes.
I know that I don't have to go and run 6 miles.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like I said, people are doing what everybody else is doing. People are, the Ozempic thing. Man, Ozempic almost put personal trainers out of business.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it really got to a point. And then you had trainers who were selling that their clients was doing it naturally. So now you got people on the fence. You know what I mean? It's like the commercial. If you see it enough, well, I mean, if enough people's doing it, why shouldn't I?
Why
you know?
shouldn't I? Yep. Absolutely. I've seen you post them, Mike, but do you have a client that's just a memorable client for whatever reason? They did everything the right way. They came to you at a bad spot and you were able to elevate them. Like just that client or two that just sticks out in your mind.
So, man, I got 2 of them, man. One of them is just mind-blowing, man. She actually is a personal trainer with me right now as a part of my team. But Maggie Villarreal came to me, man, at 376, man.
Wow.
And we lost 200 pounds in 10 months.
Wow.
No Ozempic, no shortcuts, man. We just made sure that we ate in moderation. Me and her, we met 5 times a week, not always working out, so I had to balance with the working out and the cardio. I mean, she went from never really running to running miles, jumping fences. I mean, like I said, her whole quality of life changed. Wow. I have another woman, her name's Jennifer Campos. She came to me, I want to say right at about 300. We did 60 online because it was during COVID. And then she came in person and we done another 50. And I want to say this was all done in about 6 to 8 months.
Unbelievable.
So to me, quick is you, once again, giving yourself 90 days to even adjust to what you're doing. And then after that 90 days, you tend to create a plan that's based on some of the things that you either like or create a rewarding feeling. So for me, I've always struggled with my shoulder, so I could never really bench press. Well, now I figured out the angle. I love bench press. I'll bench press 2 or 3 times a week, whereas in the beginning of my journey, maybe once a month because I didn't want the pain in my shoulder.
Absolutely. Wow. Unreal, bro. Well, Mike, bro, man, look, I've been watching the grind for a long time from a distance, and it was definitely time to let you talk about the Mike way because I see it change so many lives. I remember you as a kid, so seeing you here now, hey man, it's like a proud unk moment. So keep doing your thing, brother. And you know this is probably the first of many interviews, bro. Anything before I let you go?
Yes, sir. I would love to catch up with you, man. I'm rolling out a new facility, man. I was blessed by the Women of Wisdom, which is a non-profited charity in Tri-Cities, Washington. They blessed my business, man, with a nice little grant to allow me to invest in a new building, bring new equipment, and also look at the online market. It was something that I was in, but I didn't have the software. I didn't have the cameras that you need to make. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have all of that stuff. So I'm getting ready to roll out a major online campaign that is targeted towards people who are focused on moderation and lifestyle change.
I can't wait to see it, bro. Definitely keep me in the loop with it, man. And where can people find more out about the Mike Way?
So Instagram, I'm at the Mike Way 24. The website is the MikeWayWellness.com. And then the Facebook is just Mike Steen. And like I said, man, you'll get to look at a dedicated father, gym rat, businessman.
I love it, bro.